Bellagio. Just welcome aboard the boat. To see what we're doing now, we've obviously left Westminster Pier. We're now going to travel across the other side of the river to another small pier called Waterloo Pier for London Eye. We'll drop a few people off there, we believe, pick a few more passengers up, and we'll travel down to Tower Pier. If you're still with us, you have the right ticket, we take the Greenwich. If you stay on the boat to Greenwich and back, we return here in about 3 hours or so. But that's the long journey. That's the long journey. Something like a very short journey, which is only a little trip down to Tower Pier. We'll tell you more about this when we leave Waterloo Pier. If you're kind of attention, you can sit back and we'll talk to you again in about 15 minutes' time.
Where would I live? I still would do it. Sorry.
Wow, that's
Okay then folks, well, very good afternoon to you. Welcome on board. As you see, we're just breaking away from Waterloo Pier. As we leave piers, and now that everybody is together, we have to do a bit of safety with you. Not to alarm you, it's just for your information. The boat is equipped and licensed for 500 passengers. We've got enough life-saving equipment for that number. It comes in the form of life jackets, life rafts and life rings. The main exits from the boat are those two doors down at the front of the lower saloon, and there are two gates at the rear of the vessel, just at the bottom of the stairs. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please remain seated, calm, and await instructions from a crew member. How's everybody doing? Everybody happy? Excellent. Well, you sound happy. Try that one again. Is everybody happy? There we go. That still doesn't sound like 270 people on the top deck, but there you go. It's getting better. Alright folks, well what we're going to do, we're going to try and keep you happy. On the way down to the Tower of London, we are passing some places of interest. Now we can do one of two things. In a second I can go in there, turn on the automatic commentary system, the River Guide, which will tell you a bit about the Thames and London itself. Or in the more traditional way, I don't mind volunteering my services and standing here as a crew member, sharing a bit of local knowledge pointing out some places of interest. So I guess just by a show of hands, folks, those in favour for the automatic commentary system? One young man. Well, that's two of us then. Those in favour for me standing here and having a little chat to you lots? Just keep your hands up, I didn't quite count it. Alright, well we'll call that one a draw. Alright folks, well I'll put some stuff out. My name's Simon, I'm the captain today, got Graham on the wheel. We're both licensed watermen here on the River Thames. We are here for your safety to drive boats, but as I said, we stand here, we put some stuff out and hopefully it will make the trip more interesting. I can only speak English, I'm afraid, folks, so I will try to speak slowly and clearly, and hopefully everybody will understand something. Is that all right? All right, folks. Well, what we'll do, we'll turn the boat for you, and then this will give you all a lovely chance to take a picture of the Houses of Parliament. Now, this is the seat of the British government, of course. It's been this building here, been here since 1852 when Queen Victoria opened it. Now it was the previous wooden palace, the old Palace of Westminster, that Guy Fawkes tried blowing up in 1605, the Gunpowder Plot. This is where we get our firework night on November the 5th here in the UK. Now Guy Fawkes was caught red-handed with a barrel of gunpowder. They took him down, they tried him for treason, he was found guilty and they took him to the Tower of London where he was hung, drawn and then quartered. But where Guy Fawkes failed, about 200 years later, two lords were playing with what they called tally sticks. This was how they voted in these days. They managed to set fire to the old palace and burnt down 75% of it. In its place, this much grander building. So take a lovely picture, folks. If you didn't bring your camera today, well, you should ask yourselves why. It makes sense, you're on a sightseeing trip, doesn't it? But if you didn't bring your camera today and you'd like to get a nice picture of the building from this angle, don't worry, just go to any supermarket, buy a bottle of HP brown sauce. You'll find on the front of every bottle a picture of this building. That's what HP stands for, if you didn't know, Houses of Parliament. Just a bit of useless information for you. The clock tower here at Westminster, of course, everybody likes to call it Big Ben. It is the largest four-faced chiming clock in the world, but officially it's called the Elizabeth Clock Tower. Big Ben is actually the nickname for the 13.5-ton bell inside the clock, the hour bell that chimes on the hour every hour. And it is a funny name for a bell, isn't it, Ben? It was actually named after Sir Richard Benjamin Hall. Now, he was the man in charge when they installed it. If you look on pictures on the internet, he was actually 5 foot tall and 5 foot round. He looked a bit like a bell, so they named it after him. Now, they had to use his second name, Benjamin, because they thought Richard, well, that might be just a little bit inappropriate. Nice to see some of you on my wavelength. On the right hand side we've got the London Eye. Now how many of you have been on the London Eye? It's quite a few. It's one of London's busiest attractions. It's 135 metres tall. On a clear day you can see 25 miles in all directions. There are 32 pods or capsules on the London Eye. And if you look, they've actually repainted them recently in all the colours of the countries which are taking part in the Rugby World Cup, which starts in, well, just under a couple of weeks, isn't it? I read recently it's become very popular for gentlemen to propose to their loved one at the top of the eye. I guess they think this is romantic. But just a word of warning, fellas, if you're going to try this, please make sure she's going to say yes. Alright, because it takes 15 minutes to get right to the top. If you get up there, get down on your knee, offer the ring, she says no, it is going to be the longest, most awkward 15 minutes of your life coming back down, isn't it? There's going to be 23 strangers all staring at you as well. Alright, so just be careful, fellas. Make sure the answer's yes. If you fancy walking along the river this afternoon, it is a lovely day here in London. We do recommend the South Bank. This is the right-hand side of the river. From here to Tower Bridge, you'll find a lot of street entertainment going on. There's some good pubs, some restaurants, bars. There's a pirate ship, an art gallery. There is loads going on the South Bank, all right? So have a little nose along there, and it's a lovely thing to do. Now the first bridge we're going to pass beneath, Charing Cross Railway Bridge. I reckon it's very lucky if you see people up here, wave and smile at them. If anybody waves back to you, you get 7 years good luck. This is what they reckon. So give them a wave, make a bit of noise as well. Hello, hello up there, lovely people. There we go, 7 years good luck. Of course, if they're waving back to you, their arms are busy and they're not throwing things. So there is method behind the madness. There's another bridge this side. Have another go. Give them a wave, give them a smile. Is anybody waving back to you? No? Yeah? Oh, they did. No, it's 7 years bad luck this side. It's all good. Don't worry, folks. It's all good. But as I said, as we go down the river, if you see people on the bridges, wave and smile at them. Those who wave back to you, they're on holiday. Those who don't wave back to you, they're from London and they're miserable like the rest of us. But please, folks, can I make a suggestion? Don't walk around the streets of London waving and smiling at strangers, because you will get a funny look, believe me, all right? It's just a strange thing. If you're on a boat, people just wave and smile, and it's all. Now, the oldest thing you're going to see today is on the left-hand side, Cleopatra's Needle, 21 metres tall. It's a granite obelisk, as they're known, 3,500 years old. The Egyptians made this. Now, they like to make them in pairs. The sister needle to this one is in Central Park, New York City. The Americans have done. Now, we've got two hotel options for you here. On the left-hand side, the white building with the green tiled roof. This is the Savoy Hotel, one of London's most luxurious places to stay. 350 quid the cheapest room. The more expensive Riverside suites cost you around £2,000. But if you don't want luxury, if you want unusual, have a look here to the right-hand side. On top of the Queen Elizabeth Hall, a wooden thing with a mast. Now this is what they call a room for London. It's actually a hotel room, that thing on top of the building. It's got a double bedroom, a kitchen and a bathroom. It costs you just under £300 to spend the night up there. But you need to apply online. Go on their website, stick your name in the hat, and the organisers just pulling out random names, and if you're one of the lucky few, you get to spend one night and one night only up here. So a room for London. Check out the website, folks. Waterloo Road Bridge. Look how clean the face of the bridge is, how dirty it is underneath. Now this bridge made from Portland stone, a self-cleaning limestone from Dorset. On the rare occasion it rains in London, the face of the bridge gets a thorough cleaning. The underneath remains dirty where the rain doesn't penetrate. Staying on the right-hand side, this large concrete building with the electronic sign on the front. Now this is the UK's National Theatre. If you look closely at the building, folks, you'll realise quite quickly why, for the last 10 years, it's been voted London's ugliest building. People think it looks a lot like a multi-storey car park. Now Prince Charles loves this building. Prince Charles once said it was a clever way of building a nuclear power station in London without anybody noticing. So he loves it. It's horrible, isn't it? It's much better on the inside. Some of you might watch daytime television. Well, here on the right, this tower block, the building in front of it's got the letters ITV on. Now these are TV film studios, Kent House. This is where in the morning they film Good Morning Britain, the breakfast show on Channel 3. They also film This Morning, Loose Women, What's Cooking, Anton Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway. It's all filmed just here on the South Bank. So if you watch This Morning or any of these daytime programmes, if you look behind the presenters, you'll recognise this view on the left here now, the Wellington. this white ship. You always see that one in the background. Now, just in front of the film studios, we don't tell everybody because, quite honestly, we want to keep it a bit of a secret. But if you look to the right-hand side, one of London's best-kept secrets, a stretch of golden, sandy, tropical beach, known as the South Bank Riviera. Look at this, look. Even yesterday morning when it was pouring down with rain, there were two men building sandcastles here. You might recognise this beach, folks. Look closely at it. It was used in the second series of Baywatch. Do you remember that? On the right-hand side, on the left-hand side, we've got the Victoria Embankment, this roadway. Along the embankment, the green lions' heads. They were put here by the Victorians and used as a flood warning indicator. They're not used for mooring. The police would look over the river wall. If the water reached the lions' mouths, they would issue a flood warning. And to help them, they had a simple rhyme, which goes, join in if you've heard it already. It goes, if the lions are drinking, London is sinking. A lovely old Victorian rhyme. There is a more modern day version, of course, folks, which goes, if the lions' heads are ducked, London's well and truly flooded. It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as easily, that one, but that's the modern version. Just on the right-hand side, this red brick building, just behind us, known as Stamford Wharf. The top floor, the glass veranda, is the Oxo restaurant. It's one of London's top 10 restaurants, run by Harvey Nichols. I had a look on their menu the other day to try and find some useless information for you. They've got some very old rum at the Oxo restaurant, £160 for one glass. £180 for a glass of their oldest brandy. You can imagine what the rest of the menu's like. Now ahead of us we've got some bridges, the Blackfriars bridges. We've got a road bridge first, followed very quickly by the railway bridge. Now these bridges are said to be very romantic. There's an old legend, an old custom on the River Thames. As we pass through the Blackfriars bridges, if you turn to the one you love, give them a lovely little kiss, then many, many years of happiness you'll have. This is the old legend, the old custom. And you're all just staring blankly at me. For those of you not here with the one you love, well, just grab your husband or your wife instead. Give them a kiss. Well, it's the same one. Any single ladies, I'm available. Any single gentlemen, go and speak to Wilson down behind the bar. Let's just say he's open-minded. How are we doing, folks? Everybody happy? Still? Excellent. The same 10 enthusiastic people. There's a nice pub on the right. Look, you can see it's very busy. The Founder's Arms. Now, as I said, walk along the South Bank. That's where the action is. This pub, about halfway between the London Eye Tower Bridge. They've got a beach outside as well. They do a really nice fish and chips as well. So a good place for the whole family. The Tate Modern Art Gallery is the building on the right with the tall chimney. Now this is an old power station, which is why it looks a lot like one. It's nowadays full of modern art. And well, if you're not sure what modern art is, folks, over the years they've had a pile of bricks inside, neatly arranged to look like a pile of bricks. There was a pizza screwed to the wall. There was a room where the light flashed on and off. And one of the most popular exhibits here was actually called the Mirror, and you sort of stood in front of it and you saw your own reflection. People queued for hours to see that one. Now it's free to go inside the modern. It's free to go inside the Tate Modern, and you'll probably now understand why it's free to go inside. The Millennium Footbridge we're passing through now. Harry Potter fans, you might recognise this. Destroyed by the Death Eaters in the Half-Blood Pit. Officially known as the Millennium Footbridge, opened by the Queen in June 2000, closed by the police 7 hours later. On the opening day it wobbled violently sideways, people fell over, so they closed it for safety reasons. The designer Norman Foster said there was nothing wrong with his bridge. He blamed the wobble on the way people walk in London. It remained closed for 18 months, and if you don't believe a word I'm saying, have a look on YouTube. If you just type in Wibbly or Wobbly Bridge London, you'll see what I mean. There's some great footage. We're just passing the Globe Theatre on the right behind us, white timber building, thatched roof, a replica of Shakespeare's theatre. Open throughout the year, but from May to September they actually perform Shakespeare's plays at the Globe. It is all done traditionally with no lighting and no microphones. So you've got just to the end of this month to go and get a nice day out. If you stand up in the open courtyard, it only costs £5 to see a show, so that is really good fun. As we come through Southwark Road Bridge, it's not really that interesting, but we will mention it anyway. On the left-hand side, you'll see a barge with some containers in it. Okay, it's not riveting this, but this is actually how we get rid of our rubbish. 90% of central London's rubbish gets brought to the river's edge. They load up all these containers, fill the barges up, and then tow them all the way down to a place called Essex, which is a bit further down the river. And this is where they put landfill sites, throw the rubbish, and they also incinerate it and get rid of it that way. Obviously this solves two important questions in London. What to do with our rubbish and what to do with Essex. I live there, so I can say these things. This is Cannon Street Railway Bridge. It's probably London, or the River Thames' least interesting. It's green and made of metal, and but it does do a great job at stopping the trains falling into the river. That's the best we can do. But I did say there was a pirate ship, and here we go. This is for the children, young and old. A pirate ship to the right-hand side. We've got the Golden Hind. Now it is a replica of Sir Francis Drake's boat. It's not a model. This is a seagoing vessel. They've actually been around the world twice on this thing. More times than the original. They followed the route Drake took on his voyage of 1580. It took him 3 years to go around the world, and he nicked about £24 million worth of gold from the Spanish during his voyage. So there we are. It's a lovely place for the whole family. The children especially have a great time because they've got a little dressing up area, so the kids can dress up as a pirate, run around having sword fights, going a lot, drinking grog, you know, having a lovely afternoon. We'll just do this bridge, folks. We'll ask about another building, but we'll do that as we go through the bridge, because this one is fairly important. This is probably the most famous bridge in the world. You've all sung a song about this bridge. It keeps falling down. If you haven't guessed by now, they carved the name into it as well. There we go, look. This, folks, this is London Bridge. This is the one that falls down. Now, the Romans built the first one 2,000 years ago. They have fallen down, they've burnt down. The bridge before this one was sinking into the mud, so we just sold that one to the Americans for $2.5 million. It's in Arizona these days, re-erected across Lake Havasu. Now, folks, I can see some of you twitching already. You're trying to get a picture of Tower Bridge. There is no need to rush to the front. What we're going to do, we're going to get right down to Tower Bridge, and we'll turn the boat side on, so you will all get a nice chance to take a picture of Tower Bridge, all right? So don't worry too much about that. This blue glass building on the left here, very important building in London. This is the headquarters, the training ground for the London Window Cleaning Company. Because I'm on Italian, Luigi de Squeegee. Sorry, folks. But we've just been asked about this big, large white building behind the window cleaners with the cranes on top. Officially, the address is 20 Fenchurch Street, but they've nicknamed the place the Walkie Talkie. At the top of the building, we've got this new thing called the London Sky Garden. Just beneath the cranes, there's an English country garden up there. Now, it's free to visit, but you do need to book online 24 hours in advance. So have a look on their website, London Sky Garden, have a book on it, go up there and have a wander around, buy a couple of drinks, and you're nice and high up. All right, one of London's newest attractions. The other tall building on the right-hand side, that's the Shard of Glass, tallest building in Western Europe. It's 310 metres tall. There is an observation platform at the top of this one. That'll cost you 25 to 30 pounds to reach the top of that. And if you look closely to the right-hand side, it's quite difficult to see in the Atlantic camouflage, HMS Belfast. Now this is a town-class cruiser. Built in Belfast, that very famous shipyard, the Harland and Wolff shipyard. Now this is the same place the Titanic was built. Now this one was launched in 1939, 11,500 tons, could still do 32 knots. And the main guns you see, these are 6-inch guns. Now they can fire a shell or a screaming child 14 miles. Now the main guns on the foredeck, don't ask me why, they're aimed at the London Gateway service station on the M1 motorway, which just happens to be 14 miles away. So what we're going to do, folks, when there's so what we're going to do, folks, we're going to turn the boat. We'll stay as long as we can side onto the river. There's no traffic around. There's no real current either. So we'll turn the boat. We'll give you a lovely side-on view of Tower Bridge. Now it's 121 years old. A steel and iron suspension bridge. It's covered in stone to make it look pretty. There we go. We'll try and get it right the way around. As I said, folks, if you want to take a photo and stand up, that's fine. Once you've got a couple of shots, if you sit back down, then everybody will get a chance. All right? If we all stand up, nobody's better off, are we? All right? Now the bridge is due to open tonight at 7 o'clock and 7:30. All right? So if you fancy seeing Tower Bridge open, 7 o'clock and 7:30. I know this because I googled it. If you've got access to the internet, just Google Tower Bridge lifts. You get on their website, and then you can. They'll tell you all about the bridge lifts over the next couple of months. Well, just here on the right hand side, look at this. We've just come to rest nice and gently by the Tower of London. Now this is William the Conqueror's famous fortress. It's been around since 1067. A lot of activities have taken place. It's been a royal palace, it's been a zoo, a royal observatory. But let's face it, folks, most people know the Tower of London as a place of execution, torture and imprisonment. It's basically where we chopped people's heads off. Now if you had your heads chopped off at the Tower of London, it meant you were important. If you were royalty, like Queen Anne Boleyn, they used a sword. That was sharp, one cut, head clean off the body. The axe was blunt and difficult to aim. Might have taken 2 or 3 goes. The record was the Duke of Monmouth, 7 before they got his head. If you were really, really naughty, people like Guy Fawkes, who tried blowing up the Houses of Parliament, which we mentioned earlier, and also that very famous Scottish rebel, Sir William Wallace, who well, you probably know him better as Mel Gibson. They were both found guilty of high treason, and they were hung, drawn, and then quartered. Now this is really very unpleasant, and there are some small children on the boat, so we won't go into those juicy details. But if you like gruesome history, Tower of London, the place for you. I don't know if anybody's tried this, but we do recommend, if you're visiting the Tower of London, get your ticket, go in through the entrance and just wait for one of the yeoman warders. the guards of the tower. They're the men with the funny red uniforms. They live there, they're all ex-military men, they're very entertaining, and they will take you around the place for free. Alright, and they've got some really good stories. So if you're going to visit the tower, go around the place with the yeoman warders. Don't call them beef eaters, because they don't like that. They are the yeoman guards. Alright folks, well we're going to come alongside Tower Pier. So if I can ask you now just to remain seated until the boat is tied up safely. In case we have a bit of a bump, we don't want people falling over, especially anybody stood at the top of the stairs. Just hold on in case there is a bump. A bit of journey information for you. This boat, we stop here at the tower. When we leave this pier, we're going through Tower Bridge and we're heading to Greenwich. So if you've got a ticket to Greenwich, stay on this boat. If you've got a ticket, the 1 hour sort of ride, a ticket back to Westminster, change boats here. If you get off this one, walk to boarding gate B and a different boat will take you back to where we've just come from. Alright, so if you want the short journey, change boats here.